Thank you so much, everyone, and welcome. Greetings to Madam President and to all the wonderful ladies and gentlemen that have joined today. How many minutes do I have, by the way? I think I know this, but I want to be reminded.
You have a good 30 minutes, but take your time.
Good 30 minutes. Okay, so when someone says good 30 minutes, that's at least 25. If you go 31, people are like, so, first of all, again, thank you. And I want to thank the Lord Jesus, my Savior, who has given me the ability and the strength to be on this platform today to share. I think faith is very important to anyone, whoever you worship and serve, faith is important. And I want to share that. My faith is very important to me because I know I prayed for help to be able to present this today. I'm going to quickly go into first introducing myself. My name is Dr. Edna Chichi Frenchwood. I was born and raised in Nigeria and blossomed in Texas. I say bred in Texas, blossomed in Michigan, and I'm thriving in Atlanta. So, and I'll add a little bit of my journey into my presentation today as I start with Chichimovies. So, one of the things that's important to me is when I came to America, it was you had to work to eat. Everybody was looking for daily bread, as I would say it. I had a good background in performing the stage. I loved the arts, but I born in Nigeria, African parents, that's not really a career. They were like, you want to do stand up? Please sit down. So it was not really a thing for our people to embrace entertainment back in the days, not like today. However, the Lord gave me the strength to begin to seek out ways to, while studying, to actually get into this entertainment field and turn it into a career. So part of what I'll talk about in Chichimovies and Flix Reps is that Chichimovies is a production house. I'll go into that first. And then Flix Reps became a place where I could actually help young people who had a passion for entertainment but did not know where to start, how to start, and how to get into the industry. Thereby sort of reliving that childhood that I didn't get to, all the stuff I wanted to do as a young, talented entertainer. I get to help other young people do that and also help them balance, what they're dealing with in terms of family. So if you have parents who are saying you must do this, there are ways you can do that, not stray away from what your parents are telling you to do, and still be able to get your feet wet in the entertainment industry. So we'll start with Chichimovies. Shortly after, if you get my book, Tear the Veil, it's on Amazon. It's a bestseller. Shortly after a terrible divorce, I sat on my sister's kitchen table, and she said, "What is the one thing you'll do that you could do for free?" And she said, "Because if you're miserable, you'll raise miserable kids." And I said, "Okay, fine. I want to get back into doing my entertainment thing." So I started my company, and I believe my sister even bought the first name that I bought for my business and as a gift. And I remember at 28, sitting in a classroom with people who were in their 19, 20, 21, and they all knew what they wanted to do. And I was trying to figure out, what am I doing here? Because I could do this, but I wasn't sure. But while I was studying, I realized they all needed a job. So the best thing I could do for them was actually to go find jobs. And I found the first couple of jobs as a producer and hired on a director, hired on a video guy, and an audio person. So that was when I knew I had a niche for production. So that's how the production company started. So one of the things we do at Chichimovies is we are able to produce content for folks that need to get visibility. And content, everyone knows content is king. So from content for your YouTube, for personal, we've even done films, and I'm talking Nollywood movies, Hollywood films. We've done films where we merged Hollywood and Nollywood. We've made one of our international best-selling authors has made her story into a film of sentimental value that's streaming on Amazon. We have films, Double Decoy, that was shot 90% in Nigeria, 10% in Atlanta, that's coming out on Netflix and just aired at the Toronto Film Festival, which is major for my career. So I'm grateful because what started in a kitchen table as just a passion to actually be in entertainment turned into something extremely fruitful for myself as a business owner. And I talk about the power of small business because as small as the seed is to start it, it could be huge when the desire is to take care of the community. So our slogan at Chichimovies is where we film your story. It's all about people, and everyone's walking around with a major important story in their lives, whether it's what's going on currently, what happened to them, and how they can turn that around. I teach in my TED Talk about the power of turning pain into power, purpose, and even profit. And I think that is important coming from an abusive marriage and hiding it because I'm an African. You're supposed to be married forever, and you're supposed to be, this perfect person in this perfect little world, and it's not. However, if you are passionate about helping your community, your story, whether it's of pain, whether it's of beauty, can be of purpose to other people. And one of the things I did with my story is turn it into a bestseller through the help of mentors. And it's a best-selling book. And then, of course, I made a movie with one of the largest African churches in the U.S., their youth group, which is the Redeemed Christian Church of God. And that film is Red Flags. It's available on Tubi. I know I'm saying a lot, but this is recorded. So what I love about TAWPAC Women is you can watch this on our YouTube and go, dig in and watch these movies and films. And it's a little bit about finding out the red flags before you marry the wrong person. And again, turning that story into how we can help other people avoid things and issues they could see in the relationship where they can. So this is something that can be available for everyone, where you could take something that's going on in your life and turn it into a book, turn it into a movie, turn it into a short story, podcast, something that will transform the lives of other people around you. It's definitely important to do because that's how we change our communities, by not letting other people go down the drain of what you did wrong, teaching the next generation how to be empowered without being afraid of the value of your story. God does not allow you to go through something without a purpose for it. So I think it was a great thing that I went through what I went through at the time, because it empowered Chichimovies, where we film your story, to now use that as really a basis. And that is what will now take me into expanding to PR, public relations, which means helping people to get visibility. And one of the things Chichimovies did early on is we started a TV department called Chi TV. So we aired in over 200,000 homes back in the days. I have a talk show that I did. My mentor had a talk show. I placed people on TV. We aired on Comcast, and we grew that into streaming. We're now on like Roku. And so one of the things I love doing with that is when I get clients who have a budget, who want to spend money on getting their story out, we get them content, we get it placed on TV. So now the client can say, I'm streaming on Roku, I'm here, I'm visibly seen in places, people can see my story, and people can be a part of my journey. What I love about the kind of people I meet in the space of Chichimovies are people who are hungry for their next level. So next level means being placed on platforms like the United Nations, being placed TED Talk, which TED Talk is in 80 million homes. If you do a TED Talk speech, you are setting yourself up to get paid to speak. And if you're a woman of value, you know that what you have done in your lifetime requires the work that you've invested in yourself. And that work you're naturally already doing. And imagine if the world values that and says, would like to pay to hear you talk about that work, what you experience in the workplace, in your home, in your business, all the challenges that made you a phenomenal woman today. And how can you transform that into a platform where people pay you to come to the UN to talk about it, where people pay you to come to schools, to universities, to teach others the pitfalls not to get into, so that they can also manifest a magnificent life without taking those wrong steps. Building membership platforms for yourself where people can come in and become members of your organization, and taking that organization to the world. So making impact in, for instance, this year I got a chance to make impact in Cameroon. And I one of the things we do is when we meet clients and they require funding, we don't shy away from whatever they need. We help them find what they need. So if I need to get you on TV, great. If I need to get you into an article, great. If I need to find you money, great. I try not to tell people I do the job of finding money, because people will be like, and it's weird. But if that's what we need, God always provides what you need. And the good thing is if you ask, you receive. And if you're well packaged, the right person will say, I'll give you $1. If people are standing on the side of the road and they can get money for standing on the side of the road, you could definitely get money for being packaged and wearing a good suit. And having the passion to want to tell your story, and go out into the world and change the world with your story. So that's what we do at Chichimovies. And I'm really rushing through it. But if you look at our website, chichimovies.com, it'll allow you to see some of the various things that we've done there, the films, the TV shows, some of the films. A lot of the stories we do are based on social justice. And they're really based on telling the individual story, because I believe that when the Bible was written and great books were written, they were taking from the stories of individuals that were very important in that season. And if you miss your season, ladies and gentlemen, or gentle fellas, then you miss your season. Take a grasp of your season. Tell your story. Do a small book, an ebook, find your budget, whatever you've got to do, turn it into passion. And you don't always have to make it big. It doesn't have to be, thousands and millions of dollars. You just need to start. I'm working with my mom on her book now. And I think one of the most amazing things is finding out my history by sitting down with my mom, who's in his 70s, and talk about her childhood days, running in the village, going to school, doing this, and learning my culture, where I came from. That is my story. That I get to tell my children, who never hand washed clothes, who never lived in the boarding school, and they can see what tomorrow can be from where my past is, where my story is. And sometimes when we don't begin to plan to dig into who we are, we miss a whole generation of telling the stories to our children, sitting down Christmas time in fireplaces and maybe reading my mom's book to my children. That's my goal for this year, is releasing my mom's book before the end of the year and telling her story in a beautiful way, because that is the power of who we are and some of the things we have gone through. So filming, production, training is the third part I'll talk about, which will take me to Flix Reps. Training became a big deal for me because I met so many young people who want to be in movies and this, and they didn't know how to balance. Kind of what I went through as a teenager, wanting to, I had voiceover accents I could do. I could talk like a British person. I promise you, I could talk anyhow I want to talk. In fact, I can do the Indian. The Indian is my most favorite accent. I really like it, auntie. And I used to do it, and my family would be like, sit down. But it was a talent. It was a natural talent. I can do Asian. I can do, the Mexican. I can do it. And it's not to tease anybody. It was just really creative and very, very cool. I've used it in my career to MC many weddings. I mean, it's transformed my life. So to be able to help young people do that, I believe I got a download in 2020. I had started something called the Michigan Youth Initiative 2016. And I had young people who would come out and do my commercials for my local talent in Michigan. If a client wanted a commercial, I'd have young people come in. They'll get paid like $25 to act, and they'll be learning how to read scripts and things. But 2020, everything was going down with people being outside. So I believe I got the download from the spirit to do start Flix Reps, which is the masterclass platform, which is a platform that does teaching, training, mentorship. It's also a film festival, an international film festival. And we also help people stream their films so they can get streaming from all over the world. So we started that again to continue that Mid-Michigan Youth Media Initiative. So if you go to my website, you'll see a page that says chichimovies.com. You'll see the Mid-Michigan Youth Initiative, and you'll see that it transformed over to Flix Reps. And today we've received over close to 400 films. We've helped people get placement. We've helped young people get into films that are going to air on Netflix and Amazon Prime and get acting jobs and get gigs. Yesterday, someone messaged me. They needed a red carpet host. I said, I got someone for you. So our platform has access to photographers, artists, musicians, and people who want to work in the industry and get themselves visible. And we train them to be able to do that. So now I'm about 10 minutes out from my presentation because I'm almost done. It's 2:19. I have about 10 more minutes. I think about 2:30 my time will be up. What I'd love to do is to talk a little bit about the power of connecting with others. I think what TAWPAC women are doing here is connecting with other people. So in the space of utilizing a message, whether you're doing video or you're doing content creation or you're training, it is important to be connected to your community. So involving community work, which made me fall in love with TAWPAC Women when I met Dr. Chinwe through Dr. Rubel. I don't know if she's here, but I came to Dr. Rubel's event and I raised like 3,000 in like 2 days to attend, and she was like, okay, you raise money, you need to join this with our women. And I said, oh sure, that's fine. I watched it for a while and I was like, oh, I'm busy, my PhD program, this, that, that connection came for me in 2023 when I was tasked to honor people. A client paid me, and when clients pay, I go into prayer. I was like, oh, what do I do for this client? And I heard honor people, and I'm like, honor people, honor the greats. And I'm like, honor people, how? And I sort of started, I told the client, we got to honor people. And the client was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I look really bad, Lord. Like, come on. So, but eventually, a couple of months later, another wonderful mentor, and mentorship is really key for me, reached out to me and said, hey, I've got this Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award from the White House, and I'd love to see if you want to bring people out to honor them. He said the word honor. And that was immediately a connection into the community. I was finishing my master's in law that year. I remember saying, I'm going to take up this PR a little bit more. I've been doing it for years. PR is basically placing people on wonderful platforms that give them exposure. So just to be able to do the same in this space with the opportunity to honor people, I started hosting and hosted my first Honoring the Greats event where over 100 people attended. I've never done events. I don't do events, but of course I do now. But over 100 people came, and I'm talking about I honored senators, commissioners, pastors, leaders. It was pretty much like church, which I love. It was a great room. People far and wide came. I think the CEO or one of the leaders from Rolls Royce. I mean, the kind of people that came in the room, the kind of leaders that people told to come and bought tickets that came. But we've honored over 100 plus people. That's what I mean by connecting to the community, because as we honored them, one of the things that I was tasked to do is make sure that these people were not just getting awards. They were people who were serving their communities. They were people giving back. They were people helping the less fortunate. They were people doing community events, food bank work, all those things that are needed in the communities, women and men. They were individuals who were doing it. And my job was to honor them and to recognize them. So to date, I've honored a pastor like Dr. Daniel Olukoya, who is one of the big mega pastors. And to me, that's a big deal because of the work they do, so extensive, and many hosts of leaders. Dave Mooney, who works directly with President Trump. I know a lot of people might not like Trump, but he's still our president. So just relationships that have taken me places. I've honored individuals from overseas. We started with one award, which was the White House Award from the president. We have 5 awards to date, which includes an honorary doctorate for people who are serving. You deserve these awards because no one's going to give you flowers when you're gone. The only flowers are on your grave. These are your flowers while you're here. And a lot of the people I've honored, I've seen them take it as a crown because they wear it and then they go to work. And what happens is we employ you that year. So we honor you when we say the next year, there's a demand on you to join us at the UN. Do this with us. Be here. Go here. Because it's important as you wear your crown to be seen visibly in that space where you do the work. So again, before my time ends, I want to bring up, is Susan here?
I am here.
Okay, so this is a surprise for everyone, but I met Susan last year, and we just again, connecting with your community. We both came out to a community event. Yeah. Susan, I want you to take 2.5 minutes to tell us a little bit about our connection from when we met to today, what it's done for you, who you are, what you do, because it is important to let people know. And I wanted people to get firsthand testimonials of my work and the people that I connect and work with. And by the way, Susan, I signed Susan up. She is our sponsor. So everybody give her a round of applause. She's one of our sponsors for our African Heritage Month next month. She will have a table with her books, and she got signed up yesterday. So everyone, welcome Susan for a few minutes and thank her for sharing a little bit about herself and what our connection has done for her so far. Thank you, Susan.
It's been amazing. When I met you a year ago, I just started writing this book about my journey through well, 25 years as a pastor's wife, but we struggled with infertility, and then the hard years of ministry, and then my husband died when we were both in our 50s, so that's pretty young for a widow, and then I almost died, and then I remarried, and God changed the course of my life, but I started writing this book, and I was finishing it up, and I met Chichi, and we just connected, and it was just a weekend event. And I remember the very last night you were at a different table, and the Spirit whispered to me and said, "Ask her to read your book." I said, "Okay." So I walked over there. I said, "Do you like to read?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm working on my doctorate." And I'm like, "Well, I'd love for you to read it and give me a foreword." I mean, it was just in the Word document. And you became a real champion for the message of hope. And that message of hope has continued to connect us. And it's grown into a coaching ministry. And now you've helped me you honored me with the presidential nomination. And I always try to have space in my coaching. If y'all ever know of a pastor's wife who's struggling, but she can't pay, that's okay. I love to let pastors' wives in. I have group coaching and online coaching. And then I've done a second book. And a lot of times you do Bible studies and then you've got to pay for digital content. I put all the digital content in the book with a QR code. So you get the book, and then there's teaching and meditations and different things like that. So our connection was the catalyst. And if I hadn't listened to the Holy Spirit, I would have missed a huge turning point blessing in my life of how God has just blessed your connections and allowed me to speak into so many different worlds. It's been amazing.
Thank you so much for saying that. So Susan has spoken at the UN. Susan will be doing, by God's grace, TED Talk this year, UN next month. And she's just a beacon of light. In fact, my book that my mom's doing, my mom was like, "Can I do it with Susan?" I'm like, "Yeah." Because Susan's coaching women who are going to be able to do their books, be able to tell their story from pain into purpose, power, and again, potentially profit. So I'm very excited to have been able to bring her in for a few minutes, guys, for you guys to meet my own connections, my people that make my world go round. And I pray for my people because it's important that your people thrive well and do what they're supposed to do. She has press articles all over. So you look, if you put in Susan Throth, and she just got nominated for her doctorate. Our doctorate event is coming up August 30th in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'll share that in the group, but she just got nominated and she won't be available, but the work she's going to do, she was in Germany giving back. She teaches me, teaching for 30 years at Cedarville University. So just a very well-grounded individual who needed to share her story of pain and help other people. And there's no way I could have made this up. That's why I had to bring her here so people can firsthand see her. And her books will be on our table next year. We'll be able to have a QR until next month. You'll have a QR code to have access to her and her programs. I've signed her up for it, and I'll be able to make sure that I'll take care of what it needs to get her into that space next month. And you guys can be able to have access to her story. Thank you so much. I have a few more minutes, and I'm going to welcome one more person, and I'm done. I'm done with my speech unless anyone has any questions. I'm going to bring up a student of mine who should be on this platform, and her name is Gia. Gia, are you here? Gia says she was logging in. Oh, yes. Susan, they want you to share your contact in the group, please. Please share your contact with us. So Susan does work all over the world as well in terms of going to do the charity work she just did in Germany. And she, I know you helped Dwayne when Dwayne does work all over Africa. She supported Dwayne. Dwayne's another good friend, a mutual friend of ours that does a lot of work in African countries, helping them to learn about how to use music in their churches to empower other individuals. So if Gia is not here, hopefully at the end, I'll be able to have Gia come up. Gia is a Flix Reps student who started with me less than 90 days ago, and Gia recently went to BET and Essence, and at Essence Film Festival, Gia locked in a major client that's going to change her life forever. I'm very excited about the power of just wanting to do good in the community, because I don't want to just tell you myself. I want you to hear it from those that I work with, who their lives are being transformed every day. Matter of fact, someone talked to me about a project, and I said, I have the perfect person who has the story, which is Susan. I said to Susan, I sent her a text the other day, send me a one-liner about your TV show you want to do. Because someone just approached me about wanting to do something similar to something she mentioned to me that she wanted to do. So I encourage everyone, as I get off of my little time, I'm waiting to see if Gia will come in, is to take note of your journey and your story. It is not in vain what you've gone through. And sometimes you just put it in the back burner because I gotta work, I gotta pay bills, and you forget that you're a whole amazing human being with a whole story. And if it's, the more painful it is, you're required to literally share it with us. Because if we don't know, we don't learn from you, some of us will go right into that same ditch you went into. A lot of these young people, I mean, I have 15, 20-year-olds who are like mental health. I remember when we grew up, my mother would give me a mental headache if I tried it. Like, so why are you screaming mental health? Because they're not as strong as our generation. So it's definitely a duty to us, older individuals, even the younger ones who have the skill and talent to speak, to begin to create programs, to begin to have books, to take courses like Susan's, to be able to say, I want to learn how to go share my story. I want to empower myself to empower my community, because if I don't, who will? And that's what I do at Chichimovies, where we film your story. Gia, are you here? Maybe. If Gia is not here, I would like for Gia to share her story and how she met me and how she's connected to. She has a film premiere of her first movie. It's coming out this October, and we're very excited for that because it's a story about domestic abuse. And I can't tell you if it's her story or not, but human trafficking, domestic abuse, even traumas that we have in our worlds, in our countries, in our religion, and things that happen to us, these are all necessary to share so that we can impact, Gia's here, impact our community one story at a time, and be the light bearers that change our world. No one's gonna do it for us, but in a group like TAWPAC, I feel like I've been handed the world to have a group of other women who join hands with me to change the world one project at a time. So I'm so humbled to welcome Gia. Gia, you have 2 minutes to just tell us about yourself, because my time is up, and our connection as a Flix Reps student, what that has done for you recently at Essence with Enda, the international powerhouse footwear company that just literally hired you. And I just want you to share about the power of how we connected and how that work is impacting your life as one of the students of Flix Reps platform. If you can unmute yourself and then talk about your film festival as well. Just 3 minutes. Gia, are you there? I just saw her.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, yay. You're very welcome.
Hi, everybody. I apologize for being late, but I actually met Chichi through my cousin. I was recovering from surgery, and my cousin just happened to see me submitting into festivals, my film into festivals, that weekend that he had come. So I asked him, hey, do you know anybody who can help me market my film? And then he introduced me to Chichi. And Chichi, she pretty much gave me 2 offers. She gave me the offer of, hey, I can promote your film for you, or I can teach you. And I immediately took the option of her teaching me. And I just went all in with Chichi. She has pushed me out of my comfort zone. She has made me travel more than I've ever traveled in my life, my whole 33 years of life. And she has gotten me close to people that I never thought I would ever even be able to breathe their same air. So I'm very grateful for Chichi. We recently went to Essence Festival in New Orleans, and we networked with the people for Enda. And pretty much they were looking to find a film producer who can help them create mini films around the Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco for this year. And, you know, they reached out to me. I accepted their opportunity, and things are looking good. We're moving forward, so I'm excited about that. Also, they want to take the project into other places in Africa. So that's a really good sign. So I'm really happy. Chichi has she's broadened my horizons and made me do things, made me realize that there's more to life than just, there's more opportunities than just what's in your area. Sorry. And pretty much this upcoming October, we're doing a 5-city tour for my film Blind Justice. So that's very exciting. It's very challenging. I'm very nervous, but it's an exciting type of nervous. And I really hope you guys are in either Atlanta, Los Angeles, Chicago, Texas, or even DC. I really like you guys to come out and just enjoy yourselves and see a really good film. So I'm excited for all the upcoming opportunities and the things that are going to happen in the next upcoming months. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Awesome. Thank you. That's my time, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gia. Thank you. You guys, if you want to stay, great. If you don't want to stay, it's okay. Thank you so much, Gia. And thank you so much, Susan, for dropping by today to support me at TAWPAC presentation. Thank you.
Oh